And a pleasant Wednesday evening to everybody tuning in here. Edison Hatter back hosting another special roundtable here for In the Money Media. Happy to partner with the Hollywood Casino out at the Meadows and the MSOA this weekend is the we're making a mess of this to start. The Delvin Miller Adios Final, the 58th edition, the 3-year-old open pace. They're going for $350,000. It's a field of 9. It's a great group, and I've got a good group of guests who won't fumble over their words as badly as I do. Starting with the voice of the Meadows, Jeff Zidek, and you know this is an important week because Jeff Zidek values 3 things in life: the Meadows, bowling, and Vegas, and he's prioritizing the Meadows this week.
Funny you should mention that. No, yeah, this is the big week, of course, and really looking forward to the action this week at the Meadows. Friday night, we start with a bunch of Grand Circuit stakes. Saturday, of course, the feature is the Adios, but if you take a look at that Saturday, Adio Volo, the sister race, the companion race to the Adios, that's going to be a really good race too. So a lot going on this week. And the only question I have really is, you had those pictures of everybody up at the beginning. How do I get a hat like Mikey P's? That's the big question I have. And not the one he's wearing now, the one he was wearing in the picture.
Well, there is Mike Pribozie, so I'm sure he can answer that question for us. And, I think I'm the least local expert on this panel because Mike Pribozie obviously has had plenty of history at the Meadows and also lives about an hour-ish away. So everybody's much closer than me on this panel.
I should have went bucket hat for this podcast. If I would have known that you would have liked it, I would have went bucket hat. That picture was from a fishing trip last year, so it was very appropriate. There it is. And I did bucket hat a couple weeks ago for my Ontario racing video, and that got more attention than the horse I picked. So I'm going to start doing bucket hat. I think maybe I'll wear one Saturday for you.
That'd be a great call. I think you should.
We'll continue our way down that graphic. We've got Dawnelle Mock, who will be joining the broadcast team on Saturday out there at the Meadows and has her own podcast, doing all sorts of other stuff, owns some horses as well, a little bit of everything in this industry, Dawnelle.
Oh, yeah, but I'm excited to be at the Meadows this weekend. Adios is always the best day, especially growing up around there. We always look forward to Adios. So it's a really good race card, so I'm excited.
And right next door on that graphic, we had Cheyenne Christman, who just recently got a new job out there with the USTA, one of those great digital content creators. Definitely a lot of young people in our industry are good on that technology. I might be 24, but I'm awful with technology stuff and the social media stuff. We leave that to people like Cheyenne.
Yeah, I learned a lot, definitely, for sure. And I love the Adios. I grew up around there. So I'm honored to be on this podcast, on this panel tonight. And it's going to be a great race for sure.
And Cheyenne will be out there in person as well on Saturday. And so will our final panelist. That is Kevin Plowcha, who is currently busy. He apparently has trillions of dollars bet on the Padres tonight. Kevin, you must be happy. They're up 11-3 right now.
I feel like you would have done this last year. Just say who you were betting on and then throw it over to me. But you saved the best for last. Hopefully we can provide some good opinions tonight. No bucket hat for me, but I got this nice looking Adios Pace hat that I got last week from Jeff Zidek. So Jeff, thank you. You can actually get one while supplies last with the purchase of a racing program on Saturday. So you got to be early to get one, but this is a very exciting time of year, and let's give out some good opinions, hopefully.
Well, that is 6 of us here on this panel, and we're going to goal to keep you to around an hour of your time for both my panelists and for everybody tuning in out there. We got 8 races to go through as part of the Pick 8 sequence, so we may as well jump right in. We'll hopefully give you some Pick 8 tickets at the end, but before we start, I guess, Jeff, I'm going to ask you, but if you can't answer it, Kevin rattled it all off last week, I think off by heart from memory, but This Saturday, you at the Meadows are happy to call this the richest day in PA. What does that mean for the bettors, including this pick 8 we're going to talk about?
Well, last year we did $170,000 in guaranteed pools, and we had our biggest handle day in the history of the track. So our director of racing, Scott Lisha, he looked at it and said, you know what, let's up the ante a little bit. So we're going with $200,000 worth of guaranteed pools. Several of those revolve around the Adios pick 8, which is going to have a 15% takeout. That's going to be guaranteed to $15,000. That's going to be done in conjunction with the MSOA and the USTA strategic wagering program. The other two biggies there's 11 different pools, so I'm not going to go into them all, but the other two biggest ones are the trifecta in the Adios itself is going to be $75,000 guaranteed pool. The superfecta in the Adios guaranteed to $25,000. So that's a big chunk of it right there. And we've got the Adios pick 5, the Adios pick 4. Those also have some guaranteed pools, and we're going to have a few others scattered throughout the day. So enough to keep everyone interested and give everyone a good chance to make some money.
Yeah, Kevin, I'm sure you got the whole list. You can read all 11. I'll give them to you at the end. You can read this list, because I know you've got it there. I know, like last week you did.
I can't believe you thought I just rattled it off from memory last week. I can't believe you didn't just know that I had it propped up on my laptop, ready to roll.
Well, pick 8 starts with race 8, and Mike Pribozie was on set with me there last year and got to watch me get heartbroken in that 15th and the final race. And I was singled to It's My Show, who actually was defeated in the Adios final. And actually, you know what? I'm losing track of my own notes. I'm sure producer Ray Catolo is screaming at me. You're supposed to show the replay. Yeah, Ray. Let's look at how I lost with It's My Show last year, the replay of last year's Adios final.
Hannibal, Redwood Hanover, Bamboozler, 7 colors, Ken Hanover, Fulton on the outside. Field is behind the gate. This is the Adios. And they're off. That's Cannibal stepping out for the front with a 3 It's My Show. Inside, the 2 Irvin Hanover. Up on the outside, trying to make headway into that first turn. Ken Hanover's looking for a spot. He's going to find it 4th. As they round that turn, Redwood Hanover is away 5th. Flightcraft is out 6th. Racing 7 through that first turn is Bamboozler. 8th is 7 colors, and the early trailer is Fulton. Adios Pacers around the turn to the quarter. Cannibal is in command to the quarter in 26-2, but here comes Zeron. It's My Show is on the move. That's It's My Show going at Cannibal early for the front. It's My Show now clears. Cannibal back to 2nd. Racing 3rd is Irvin Hanover, couple of lengths to Ken Hanover 4th. Racing in 5th is Redwood Hanover. Then it's Flightcraft 6th, followed by Bamboozler 7th. At the back are 7 colors and Fulton. Through the turn, the Adios field heads for the half. It's My Show. The 3-5 favorite is by the half in 53 3/5. They'll take him to the back stretch. It's Cannibal 2nd. Racing 3rd is Irvin Hanover. First up on the outside, here comes Redwood Hanover. He's 4th. Trapped in on the inside 5th now is Ken Hanover. He's overtaken by 7 colors, who's rolling on the outside with cover. Also on the outside, Fulton's making up ground. Flightcraft on the inside, and Bamboozler goes to the outside. You've got 5 in and 4 out as they head to the 3/4. It's My Show. It's his race so far. He's by 3/4 in 1:21-2. Around the final turn, It's My Show, the leader. 3 wide. Here comes Pallone with 7 colors. Between horses is Redwood Hanover. 4 wide. Fulton joins the chase. Cannibal yet to be heard from on the inside. Top of the stretch in the Adios, and they're on their way home. It's My Show on the outside. Redwood Hanover up the inside. Cannibal far outside. 7 colors through the stretch. Redwood Hanover on the inside. Cannibal wins the Adios in 1:49.
Well, Mike, I guess I'm not liable to share names, but I'm sure they probably wouldn't mind. And if anybody knows the people around the Meadows, they can probably figure out who the 2 other people are. But as you recall, we were on the apron, and me and 2 other unnamed individuals that, again, if you think about it, probably people can figure out if they're listening, owned like 60% of the pick 8 pool, and I was alive to like well over half of it if It's My Show wins that single with some prices earlier. And nope.
That was a nice ticket that you had there, live to the end of a pick 8. Very difficult to do. Mandatory payout too. So if nobody picks 8, whoever has 7 will get paid, and so on and so forth. So especially if prices roll, there's a chance it could pay on 6, 7. I mean, that's a possibility. And with this card, there's going to be an upset. Look at last week's eliminations.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely did see a lot in those eliminations. We'll take a look at those eliminations when we get to the 15th race, but we got a lot to get to until then. So, Kevin, let's start with you. Race number 8, 2 divisions of the 2-year-old Colton Gelding Pace for the Roy Davis, the Arden Downs. The first division comes up earlier on the card. We're just going to focus on this division. Race 8, where do we start in the pick 8?
Yeah, we're spreading out a little bit. I just like to have coverage in opening legs of sequences like this just so I can, survive and advance to the next leg. So a little logical here to start off, but I'll go 3 deep. The 3 Wedlock Blue Chip comes off that huge win in a 152 flat over at Philly. Got some good rating up top from Troy Byer, but now comes in, draws another good inside post. And the fractions will probably not be in the 57 range or the 59 range, which is how he won his debut. Got to the half in 59-2. There's no chance of that happening. So, if he gets pushed a little bit, if he takes too much money, he's definitely a play against on the win end for sure, but I'll include him. The 4 Fasting is interesting. Just that natural progression. I know he's been off nearly a month, but they wouldn't put him in this spot if they didn't think that he could improve. He got a nice half too, end off well, rated him well up top, got a 30-2 second quarter and then out sprinted him late. Like I said, they wouldn't put him in this spot if they didn't think that he had a chance. And he could end up pacing like 53 and change. Who knows? We'll see how fast he could be. And then the 6 Luz Albano got a really tough trip last time. That horse in front of him was parked for the mile and basically took him out of contention. And then he still rallied, kicked 27-4 to just miss. So I'm 3-4-6 in the opening leg.
Well, Jeff, Kevin's not using the horse he gave out when next to you in the booth last Saturday, Damn the Torpedoes, who I actually like back in the spot, but Kevin's going against him.
Yeah, I tell you what, I'm looking at 3 horses there. He had 2 of them. I did not going to be using Fasting because of the month off. That stale date for the 2-year-old. Hey, this is not an old war horse. This is not a horse that needed a few weeks off. I've got to go with Damn the Torpedoes. You've got Brian Brown and Tim Tetrick and an inside post in a stake race. That's enough for me to throw that one onto the ticket. Other than that, yeah, Wedlock Blue Chip and Luz Albano are the other 2. And I do agree with Kevin that I think it's 3 deep in that first leg.
Cheyenne, also going deep in the first leg?
Yeah, so I'm going 3 deep as well. Wedlock Blue Chip being one of the obvious ones, Luz Albano being the second one. But I actually went a little bit different. I didn't do Damn the Torpedoes, but I did go with Quick Pit Stop. Although it's the outside post, it's post 7. Not exactly ideal for a young horse, but this is the Mike Wilder, Dan Altmaier duo. It's a family business. They know their horses. And this horse is, out of the 4 starts, this horse has hit the board every single time and has been consistent. So I felt like this horse was worthy of being put into the first leg for me.
That was a game win last week by him. He raced really well last week.
Yeah, he did. I'm going 2 deep, though. I'm going with Wedlock Blue Chip. I really like this horse. I'm hoping he can't get beat, but just in case, I'm going to also play the 6, Luz Albano. I like him, too, and I think if there's going to be a challenge for Wedlock, it's going to be Luz Albano.
Mike, I went 2-3-6, which I think is the same as Jeff there. Damn Torpedoes, Wedlock Blue Chip, and Luz Albano. Are you going deep as well, or are you going to be different than us all, maybe take a single to start?
Looks like those 3 also to me. The problem with Wedlock Blue Chip is the break on the 8th of July, and that makes him a little untrustworthy. And you get 2-year-olds, it's a big race. They're going to be going faster than they ever have here. So that's the problem with that one. He is obvious. He's probably faster, but that break looms a lot. So I do think the 2 and the 6 are the other 2. I understand the 7 though. That horse won from a tough spot last time. Really didn't want to give it up. So I could see that horse also, but a 2-3-6, I think, to start there.
It seems like we got some pretty good consensus on that 8th race. So let's take a look at the 9th race. This one will kind of breeze through a couple of these overnights events. This one, non-winners of 7,000 in the last 4 on the pace. Mike, how do we continue along?
Just 2 deep there. Sand Between My Toes is very obvious. Has made almost 800,000. Was the big upsetter of the Breeders' Crown several years ago. I thought raced okay last time. American Classic was never losing that race on July the 17th. I mean, just a dominant winner, but that was a quick race. This horse raced okay there, draws well. And then the other one's Real Ideal. Comes back from Northfield. Was racing in the opens there not long ago. Is a closer, but I think is quick enough. If it gets a little bit of a pace up front, probably is going to be flying late. So just 5-8 there in the 9th.
Jeff, we're all gamblers, so you'll appreciate this. I don't know if I've ever said this out loud before. I know a couple people close to me know the story. Sand Between My Toes. He won the Breeders' Crown at 209-1. That was not a good night for me that year at Hoosier Park. I was down enough that the last race night, I needed $20 to win on something massive. Two horses, the 8 and the 9. Sand Between My Toes was, I think, the 8 horse at 99-1, and the 9 was 99-1. Just blindly taking numbers. I took the 9 at 99-1. Only I would have come up with the 8.
Well, maybe you can get a little bit of it back with Sand Between My Toes here. I do like that one. I think the other number, though, is Dragon City. Dragon City is a horse that I don't look at that class he was in last week. He just breezed to a win in that class last week. He fits well in this group. He's paced in sub 151 times the last 2 starts, and he's earned both of those. This is one of the things, depending upon how the first 7 races of the day go, how deep you can go into this one, whether you're up, down, or whatever. If I decide to go 3 deep, Surreal Ideal is the other one. Second start back off a layoff. The post is going to be a big concern. I think the 5 and the 3 are blasting out of the gate. If the 8 goes to the front, he's going to really get pushed, and I think that's going to set it up for the 3 or 5. So if I'm looking at a more conservative ticket, I'm going 3 and 5.
Dawnelle, what about you here in the 9th?
I didn't go conservative at all with this one because I just don't know how this race will play out. So I went 3, 5, 6, 8, just because Dragon City, even though up in class, I can see this horse winning easily. 5, Sand Between My Toes. I think Brady Brown and Dirk Simpson do well with this horse when they team up. Same with Patrick the Piranha. This horse usually is on his game and ready to go, so he could be a major player. And then the 8, Surreal Ideal. I like this horse coming into the Meadows. I know he qualified here, but he hasn't raced here in the last couple starts, so I think he could be a player. So I went 4 deep. I'm a little worried about this race would run over my ticket.
Yeah, Cheyenne, I kind of see it similar to Dawnelle. We'll see, how the day's going, how much money I want to invest into this pick 8, but I would kind of like as many as I can take in this race.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, Surreal Ideal was on my original ticket, but you have to get to with me, when I can make these tickets, I want to be budget friendly, right? And I want to be realistic on how much I'm willing to spend on a pick 8 ticket like this, because as you all know, it's so hard to hit, right? So I actually, due to his outside post, I threw him off my ticket. I went with 3, Dragon City. That horse, he won last week, made it look really easy. Also, this horse has been very competitive up at Northfield as well. And so he's always a nice horse to just keep an eye on. Number 5, Sand Between My Toes. That we have a little bit of a drop down in class. This is a nice team up here with Dirk Simpson and Brady Brown, as Dawnelle mentioned. Finished 3rd last time out in 151. And then for my 3rd little pick here, I went with Patrick the Piranha A. Down in class. Not only that, had the 8 hole last week. Not exactly the most ideal position to have here at the Meadows. So we draw a little bit closer to the inside with post 6. And then if you look about 3 starts back, you can see that he went in 149-3, which I think is quite impressive. So I felt like I couldn't have take him off my ticket. So for me, it was 3, 5, and 6.
And Kevin, we should say with all of this, obviously we're recording this Wednesday evening. Everybody's tuning in, watching us here. This is before the final choices are made by drivers. So I think everybody's going on the assumption here that Aaron Merriman ends up on Dragon City. But to be fair, he is also listed on so many roads there on the 9 horse.
Yeah, he'll probably end up on Dragon City. This is a really tough race, and depending on if you had some strong opinions later in this sequence, you could honestly go 6 deep in this leg if you want. But like Cheyenne said, these tickets get expensive quick. I was economical last week on the pod with the pick 4, and I think I went like 1 out of 4. So sometimes it doesn't really matter. I'm 3 deep here. The one, Annapolis Hanover, one that nobody else has mentioned yet. I'll throw him in just because he got a tough trip last week. I know 2 back. He was coming off that week off, but he was like 7-5 in that race, and he was kind of expected to win. I know he didn't, but I'm just going to throw him in at a price. You got Delvin Miller, you got the inside post. He's shown some good speed in the past. The 6, Patrick the Piranha, obvious, based on what everybody else has said, had no chance last time in a higher level from post 8. And then I'll throw in the 8 too, Surreal Ideal. We've seen this horse in the Open plenty of times before here. Just 4 starts this year, obviously coming off a 6-month layoff. But I'll include him too. He was 40-1 last week. Curious how he gets bet. Curious in general how this race gets bet. Could be very interesting. So I'm 1-6-8 in the 9th.
Well, we will turn our attention to race 10, which is the Adio Volo. And Cheyenne, we're going to see how much you listen to Meadows press releases today. Adio Volo, this race is named for?
This race is the Quentin Patterson Adio Volo.
And the Adio Volo was?
the Adiovolo was?
Yes, he didn't ask me this question. Yes.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm failing. I'm getting an F. I'm sorry. You're going to have to send it over to Kevin because I do not have the answers right now. I'm having the biggest brain fart known to human being.
Kevin?
I don't know.
Jeff, I read your press release today.
Here it is. Kevin is giving me crap, but yet he doesn't know the answer either. So,
Dawnelle?
I'm just saying.
I read it. It was Adios's dam, wasn't it? His mom.
There we go. We got a winner.
Yeah. I read it, Jeff. I read all your press releases.
That's two people. That's two.
We were prepping for the Hambo pre-show, so I was a little busy. I didn't have time to read press releases today.
Mike's just going to say that he knew that, but I don't know. Did he actually?
I might have been able to come up with it on a guess, but I usually read Jeff's stuff too.
Jeff, we'll give you a moment here to talk about. I'm sure you mentioned also in the press release about this race being named this year for Quentin Patterson, who obviously a longtime employee out there at the Meadows.
Yeah, Quentin was he basically ran the place. He had every key to every door at the old grandstand back in the day. He'd been with the Meadows for decades, and he would be visible one time a year to everybody, and that was when he would be the person that would walk in and throw the blanket of orchids on the Adios winner. And he valued that job. That was very important to him to be able to do that every year. And so we already had Delvin's name on the Adios, and so we honored Quentin with putting his name on the Adiovolo.
Well, Jeff, speaking of this Adiovolo this year, it's a group of 9 signed on, and it's a pretty darn good group. My Girl EJ versus Geocentric. Geocentric, I don't know, maybe not quite as strong as she was last year there. She's already suffered defeat 4 times here in 2024, but she does get the post advantage over those other rivals here.
And that's the key. That is the key, Edison. Geocentric had post 10, was parked all the way last time. She's got the inside post. I think she's going to be able to control and get whatever trip she wants, whether that's Tetrick on the front, whether that's Tetrick getting a pocket trip. The other thing that you saw in the press release today, this field has 58 wins in 167 starts. They've been on the board 118 times collectively in 167 starts. That is strong. I mean, that is almost 71% in the money as an entire group. That is very strong. But My Girl EJ, obviously, the other one, she's only been off the ticket one time in her career, but post 7, and that really was the determining factor for me, was the 2 over the 7. I think the other number is Sarasota Hanover, but as far as the pick 8 ticket, I really don't think too many people are going to go more than 2 deep in this one. This is the race, though. If something strange happens, this is the race that's going to wipe out 3/4 of the pick 8 tickets.
And Cheyenne, I'll give a preview of my selections. This is where something's going to happen because I'm leaving Geocentric off my ticket, but carry on.
For me, I could not leave Geocentric off my ticket. I had to go 2-7. Geocentric and My Girl EJ, they've been battling it out since the beginning, right? But I also think that post 10 last week was not an advantage to Geocentric. We moved closer to the inside, like Jeff Zidek said, and I think that's going to be nothing but an advantage. But My Girl EJ, one thing about Ron Burke, when he speaks highly of his horses, you know that it's factual, right? So they did a top contenders video with US Trotting, and he says, you know what, like, they have a nice horse, but I think I have a nice horse, or it might even be better. So, and clearly that has been shown here through the numbers with basically the horse hitting the board pretty much every single start. So I could not leave My Girl EJ off my ticket either. So I only went 2 deep. I went with 2 and the 7.
Kevin, I'm going to go to you next just so you can tell me. So I'm not going to use Geocentric. I'll be using 2 other horses. One of them is a horse whose announcers have called like 3 different names, so you seem to criticize me all the time. What do you want?
Can I get a loop?
Okay, there you go. That's one of my 2 selections. Carry on with yours.
Okay, not one of my selections. I have Geocentric included. That was a brutal trip last time from post 10. Parked all the way, still kicked 25-4. Was making up ground on My Girl EJ despite that horrible trip. I'm not going to include My Girl EJ. I think we could have a weird race here. I'm going to throw in the 8, a Sweet Beach here at probably a huge price. J-Mac put her into contention last time, got to the half in 53-4. And then whenever her and Sarasota Hanover both moved in front of pass line, J-Mac was still shaking the lines, looking for room for her late. So despite that brutal trip, she still could have come forward. She only lost by 4.5 lengths, despite getting to the half in 53-4, and then being kind of stuck behind Sarasota Hanover when it was all said and done. So this is a really stacked Adiuvolo, and we could have a weird result here. So I'll go 2-8 to keep it economical, and maybe you get a huge price here.
Dawnelle?
Yeah, I went with Jeff. And honestly, if I were cutting my budget a little bit, I'd just go with my girl EJ. Even with the 7-hole, I think she's just really on her game lately. Like Cheyenne said, when Ronnie's confident in a horse, he's definitely confident in a horse. We learned that with By the Missile. So I went 7-2, but I could see this race. I mean, this is a good competitive race, so I could see this playing out weird and a long shot coming in and ruining everyone's ticket. But I'm going 7, my girl EJ.
So, Mike, to give mine, it's Can I Get a Loop Loop and My Girl EJ. This is one of 2 races, I believe, in this sequence. I'll be heavily relying upon that Ron Burke barn, which probably not a bad barn to be relying on.
So if you remember last year in this race, there was a big separator in the pick 8 because a couple of the favorites lost and Always Be Naughty won at a medium price. And that was a huge separator for a lot of people. My girl EJ actually won on Adios Day last year. She loves this racetrack. I do think her class, while Geocentric is right there with her class-wise, I just think that the advantage of the fact that she does like this racetrack is huge for her. But I think that she would be the top pick. But I wouldn't mind using Sarasota Hanover in here because she seems to be improving. That race last time, she was a sub 4-1 in that stake at the Meadowlands, and obviously kicked 27 there. Ended up second to Caviar Bell. That horse was that racetrack. So this horse is getting better. It's Toscano inside post. You could get a speed duel with Geocentric and My Girl EJ. So I feel like she's the other one for me. I'd be 3-7 there.
That's an Adiuvolo last year where I also left off a favorite to continue on the pick 8, I will say. Race 11 up next here. We got conditioned claimers, $10,000 to $12,500 on the pace. Dawnelle, how are we going where are we at anymore? The 4th leg of this pick 8.
Well, technically I own the 5, so I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to go with the 5. But he made me mad last week. So I would go with the 3 and the 7, Infinity Symbol A. I think this horse, even drawing the 7-hole, I think he'll be just fine. I don't like that he was scratched last week, so he might be a little short. That's why I did put the 3 on my ticket. Would mirror and roll. Brandon usually has his horses ready to go. Even coming from a 7 claimer, it won easy last week in 152. So I don't think the step up in class will hurt this horse at all.
Mike, which direction did you go here?
I thought this was a tough race, and I'm going to use the 2 and the 3. The 2 lines, Copper Top, lots of speed for this one. Really has been on the front the last 5 starts until late. Now only won one of those races, but last time I thought was favored versus these 10 claimers off that nice win for 7 there on the 13th of July. So this one's going to be one to catch. I think the 3 is the other horse in here. Woodmere and Rolly, a nice win for 7, first off the claim for Presto. Now he steps up. I think this horse is a must use, even though prior tries for 10, this horse really hasn't raced all that well. The 7's okay for me, but I mean, it's a 10-year-old mare going against the boys and was able to win for 10 versus the fillies and mares on the 10th of July, but then a 6 scratch, an outside post. I know she'll be right there at the end. I mean, 18 shares in 22 races this year. So consistent, but I think the 2 and the 3 are the ones for me there.
Cheyenne?
I went the same as Dawnelle. I went with the 3 and the 7. Brandon Presto had $1 million year last year. So when it comes to this track and Dave Pallone and Brandon Presto teaming up, there's always something magical that happens. And I felt like this horse, I just couldn't keep off my ticket. Won last week in 52-1 last quarter and 27-3. And then Infinite Symbol A. Although she's going up against the boys, I think she has a good shot, even despite having the 7-hole, like Dawnelle said, to get the job done. There was one horse, though, that I, just to, obviously to keep the be within the budget, right? I really liked Take Me to the Limit. Was second, had the 9-hole last week. We moved closer to the inside. And one thing with Johnny Yoder, he makes smart buys. He makes smart claims and always knows how to classify them well. So this is a horse I think if you wanted to add more to your ticket, I think this is a horse to consider for sure. But for me, I just went 3-7.
For anybody dissecting this video very closely, that Kevin excitement they saw like 5 minutes ago was the additional run from the Man Machado double. Kevin's Padres are now up 12-3.
Aren't you going to talk about golf this week? That's why you come on here to talk
We'll
about
get to that
golf,
later.
and then like you loosely give your selections, and then say, "Check out the show on Monday at Yonkers, where I give my full selections." I'm
Who are you
2-3.
using in race 11, or you can tell us that later too.
I could say the same thing. Find out on Saturday when I give my selections. I'm 2-3, same as Mike. It's going to be truly magical when Woodmere Androli and Dave Pallone and Brandon Presto win at 6-5 in the 11th race. We could double our bankroll there. But he steps off that big win in 52-1. And last time he was up against these 10 claimers, he was 3-1. So he took some serious money there. And then Lions Copper Top. I liked him last week, but he cut it too fast of a half. And if he gets a little bit more rating, despite drawing inside again, he could trip out here, I think, or just remove and go all the way. So I'm 2-3.
Jeff, I think producer Ray is giving me a nudge that I swear I mentioned it, but I'll make him happy. This is a 20-cent minimum pick 8 with a $15,000 guarantee and a mandatory payout. And in this race, in the 11th race, a $12,500 guaranteed pool, pick 5 stars. There we go. Thank you, producer Ray. Jeff?
Thank you, producer Ray. 11th race. This is a tough one for the early predictions. Infinite Symbol, I think, is the key to the race. As was pointed out, this is a mare going up against the boys. I don't generally like that, but this horse is fast. She's fast off the car, and that could put her in a good spot. But she's coming off a scratch. I went to the 3 Woodmere Androli. I am going to use one other horse, but again, we are recording this Wednesday night. I can tell you who that other horse is Thursday morning because it's either the 2 or the 4. And it depends on which one Ronnie Wren picks. I think that's the key. Wren is going to put himself in the best chance to win this race, whether he takes the 2 Lions Copper Top or the 4 Take Me to the Limit. Take Me to the Limit, I really like. In my initial look, I'm putting the 4 ahead of the 2. So the numbers I have written down are 3, 4, 2, 7 for my top 4. But I will maybe flip that in the morning on Thursday morning once I see which one Wren selects. So I think that's the key to whoever is going to be the second choice in here.
Yeah, it's an important angle I look at a lot, and I'm sure a lot of us do too. You know, sometimes it's easier to just let the drivers do a little bit of handicapping for us, so that's definitely important to note, but won't affect me. I'm like a couple other people here, 3-7, Woodmere Androli, Infinite Symbol, for many of the same reasons already mentioned. So we'll just go on and turn the page here to race 12. This is the James Mandarino, the Arden Downs 3-year-old colt and gelding trot. And okay, Cheyenne, here's your chance to rebound. This would be an easier trivia question. This field of 10, where does the 10 horse start?
It's a trailer.
Yeah,
so yeah, behind the 1 or behind whatever favorite it wants to be behind.
That was the other significant thing from the Jeff Zidek press release today, by the way, actually. So this is all just a Jeff Zidek press release trivia competition. But
yes,
yeah,
promotion for the
told me that, I would have made sure I came prepared. So that way I wouldn't have looked like a fool. But it's all good. It's fine.
Well, Sam, we'll let you kick it off while you got it here. Who do you like in this 10-horse colt and gelding trot?
Honestly, I just singled. I just went with Splendid. This horse has just been such a nice horse. Out of 9 starts, got 7 wins. You see a lot of the ones in the program. Can go in 53, has got the speed, got the capability. And Splendid and Chris Lems just seem to really get along together. So that is who I singled here. But also, too, I think a horse that might potentially be able to be like kind of the sleeper here is number 1, Father Mike. If Ronnie Wren goes with this horse, this horse has been – it's slowly starting to get better. You see, in the Courier Knives finished second in 154, second in 55. So if something weird would happen, this might be a horse you might want to add to your ticket as well. But for me, I singled and just went with the 3 Splendid.
Dawnelle, I think we got all the way to the 5th leg of this pick 8 for somebody to finally single. So I guess we better be seeing some more of those. There's going to be some expensive tickets.
Yeah, I'm same as Cheyenne. I singled the 3 Splendid. I just think this horse is a solid horse, seems consistent. So I can see it winning this race with ease.
Okay, Jeff, that's 2 votes for Splendid. You had a third?
I will, and I think it's the logical single unless you've got really deep pockets, because adding another horse obviously is going to increase the entire cost of your ticket. But the only concern I have, and people in the business will tell you, it is very tough to keep a horse sharp week after week after week after week. At some point, the sharpest horse in the world is going to have a bad week. Splendid has 7 wins in 9 starts. I think at least 6 of those are consecutive, if not all 7. At what race is that horse going to throw in a race that just isn't as good as the others? Maybe this isn't the week. Maybe this is the week he just goes out there and makes it 8 wins. And I think for my ticket, I'm going to have to bank on that. But as I said earlier, this is another one of those races that could tank a whole lot of people's tickets if something doesn't work out right for Splendid.
Well, Kevin's one of those people with those deep pockets, so maybe he's not singling here.
Yeah, I have such deep pockets because I'm always placing $3,000 wagers on golf every weekend. If you watched the replay of Splendid's last race, Loxahatchee was leading that race and just broke right at the top of the stretch. We didn't really get to see if Loxahatchee would have stayed flat, what would have happened. Now, could Splendid have pulled to the outside or gone to the passing lane and gone right by? Yeah, but we don't know. He held off the rest of the competition. He won again. He's super logical in here, and I like the fact that two back in that Courier and Ives, he was first over, and he drew away 28-1 final quarter, so he's shown that he's not just a front-end type. I'm also going to include 4 6s. Now, this is a horse that I liked last week because Hunter Myers was on, and I was curious, despite the time off, what kind of trip they were going to give this horse. And he got a first over trip, and he faded. He came home in 30-1, but it was a first over trip against older horses, and it's a trip that I think could only make him stronger this week. It's a race that he could come off of and just step back up to like a 54 and change type race. And you have Matt Cayley listed. I think they're going to give him a big chance here. So if something goes wrong with Splendid or that streak comes to an end, I want to have a backup. And my ticket's still relatively cheap. We'll get into that in the last few legs. But I'll go 3-5 in race 12. I know I'm including the super logical horse, but, it's kind of killing my value. But I'm also going to include the 5. And even if you include a couple of super logical horses, this ticket can still pay.
Mike, I'm sure Jeff, as fellow announcer, will agree with me. We got to ban some of these numbers from names because it's very difficult to get yourself straight saying.
How about the horse named
5, 4, 6s going to the lead?
Yeah, that's
the horse named 5.
Thank God he's not in with 5. Yeah,
I feel like Kevin's the new Ray, though. I mean, he's very long-winded in his analyses of these races. Splendid's pretty obvious. That 53-4 sticks out over this track in June, then got a nice prep and still won in the Stallion Series up at Philly. 7 wins, 9 starts this year. I'm going to throw a couple horses just if you're looking for value. The 8 Activation's interesting to me. Now, I know the lines look awful, but this horse made $65,000 last year at 2 and still can't really figure it out this year. Lots of gate woes, lots of breaks, 8-hole here, but this is a horse that I think is fast enough if they can get it figured out and could really, this horse is probably going to be 50-1 in this race. And I think is worth using on tickets, especially if this horse trots. I think that it's worth a use. And then the One Father Mike's another one, finished second, 2 Splendid back in that Courier and Ives. And then, is improving. I don't mind the last race and was sub 3-1 there at Philly. Has, I think, maybe an advantage over this racetrack and has chased Splendid before, draws pretty well here. So those would be the other alternatives, I think, to the favorite.
I like that, Mike, including Activation, because he was 5-2 against Splendid in that race that he came out of. And if they wouldn't have put him in this spot if they didn't think that they could tinker with him and keep him trotting. They would have just taken him to a qualifier or something to see if they can get him right. But they put him in this spot. I think that's an interesting horse to use, too.
Okay, Mike, it's as long-winded as Ray, but if it was Ray would have said, but no, you're forgetting to use the 11 horse. The 11 horse is clearly the winner of this race, even though Scott Zeron says he's hopeless.
Sorry, I agreed with Mike.
Ray is here producing, so we can talk about him. We're not talking about him.
The problem is he throws himself into these shows once we say enough things. We got to see who says the magic thing that gets him to put himself in here. Race 13.
Candyman, he just pops up.
Race 13, the condition claimers again will $10,000 to $12,500. Kevin, start us off.
I'm going to single Aston Hill Dave. He's had some brutal trips in his last 5 starts, has been first over in quite a few of them, including last time out from post 8. Ren actually got him in a decent position despite post 8 at Northfield. I think this is a spot where he could blast and last and go all the way. So try to keep the ticket a little more economical. I'll just single Aston Hill Dave. Twin B Jammer could get third again if you're looking for a show bet.
I think I forgot to talk about race 12 myself, but I do have Splendid included. I also like Father Mike there. The braking issues 2 back, beating just a length last time out against Stallion Series competition. So 1-3 race 12 for me, and I'll give race 13 while we're at it too. The 8 Aston Hill Dave I will include. Also going to use the 5 Twin B Jammer. So there we go. 5-5-8 for me. Same 2 that Kevin just talked about, Dawnelle.
I'm with Kevin. I'm singling Aston Hill Dave. I think this horse coming to the Meadows is going to surprise us and win with ease. So I singled this one to keep my ticket down.
All right, Cheyenne, you singled first last race. Everybody's jumping on now. Do you have another single for us, or we're going deeper here?
I went too deep. I went with 2 Love Yourself. It finished second last week in 1:52.1. Just thought that was an impressive effort, so I had to put that horse on my ticket. And then I like the 6 Fearless Fury. Had the 9 hole last week, and moving a little bit closer to the inside, I think it'll be a benefit for that horse. You got another Brandon Presto horse. You can't deny how powerful he is when it comes to these claiming races. So for me, I just went with the 2 and the 6. I did like the 8, but I just wasn't in love with that outside post, so I just left that horse on my ticket. So I just went 2-6 here.
All right, Mike, that's 2 votes for singling the 8 and 1 vote for leaving him off entirely. Which route are you going?
I'm going to use the 8. I think he's obvious, and he's going to be much better here versus this bunch. I'll use the 6 also. I agree with that horse. Second time, Presto. 9 post last time, no chance, but did make up ground late. Should be much better here from the 6 hole. I like the 6 quite a bit. I think it's 6-8 there.
You know, Jeff, I feel like I talk about it at all the different tracks that I seem to work at different times of the year. And to be fair, I think the answer is kind of different at some tracks compared to others. So in your opinion, condition spots, like, for example, the 3 horse going from non-winners of 1,800 in their last 4 here at the Meadows to claiming spots like this, how do they rank class-wise?
It depends, obviously, on the exact condition you're in. In this one, I think this is a tougher spot for free on the beach. You do get some good horses dropping down. Usually the better horses are going to drop down maybe as low as non-winners of 4,500, all the way down to non-winners of 1,800. It's very rare to get a really, really tough field in there. I think this is a tougher spot. On an unrelated note, I just realized looking at myself on video how gigantic this chair looks that I'm sitting in. And I realized it kind of reminds me of that scene from Deadpool when he's regrowing his legs. And anyway, so yeah, I'm going to single Aston Hill Dave to get back to the point. I like the 8 in here.
Race 13 starts a $15,000 guaranteed pick 4 pool, and that one runs beyond the Adios. That goes all the way to race number 16. It's a 16 race card on Saturday at the Meadows with an 11:45 first post time. And I don't know, Jeff, what time do we get to go find ourselves some alcoholic beverages and call it a day? Probably 6:30, probably about a 6.5 hour experience.
No, we're looking at the Adios itself, race 15, to be about 5:05, and then after all the pomp and circumstance interviews and all that, I think we're wrapping up. I think our 16th race post is closer to 5:25 range. So you can get an earlier start on your alcoholism.
That's great. That's fantastic. We're gonna watch that, and we're gonna watch Kevin bet some baseball or golf or whatever Saturday night, and we'll be on our way. Probably Hambo limbs, But
That's the one.
Race 14, the Mary Liv Miller, the Arden Downs 2-year-old filly pace. Again, a field of 10, so another starter from the second tier. And Jeff, which way did you go here in the 10-horse field?
Okay, this one's tough. This one is tough. The 4 Always Anna Hanover. I liked that line last week at Pocono. They thought enough of her. It looks to me like she surprised them a little bit. She raced in the Stallion Series the first time around, and then they jumped her up to the top level. And that's a tough move to make, and she handled it well. So going from a Stallion Series to a second-place finish in the Sire Stake, I think she caught the Burke Barn a little bit by surprise, and so I like her chances in here. Her stablemate, though, Blessed Hanover. So again, recording this Wednesday night, let's see Thursday morning who Ronnie Wren goes with. He's going to have the opportunity to drive the 1 or the 4, and which one goes on top of my picks is going to be based upon which one Ronnie Wren selects. The other number to look at, other numbers to look at in here, the 3 Country Dancing and the 7 Daily Double Deo. Daily Double Deo was 78-1 in the Sire Stake, and I didn't think she raced too badly in there. But realistically, I think this is Burke and Burke in the top 2 spots, and that's about as far deep as I'll go in that race.
Yeah, Kevin, I alluded to it earlier on when I said it in the previous race that there'd be another race I would rely on the Ron Burke barn with a couple horses. This is it.
Yeah, always Anna Hanover. I'll use her. She's very logical in here. Raced super well, kicked 27-4. Kind of got forced 3 wide when Lily White Hanover was just kind of slowly advancing. But then she was able to outsprint Always Anna Hanover late, but I'll include her. And then I'll also include the 7 Daily Double Deo. She was 78-1 because she went up against Poppy Grad, the best filly that we've seen at the Meadows to debut, at least, in quite a long time. And it was an interesting trip for her because she took to the back. And then at the top of the stretch, Todd moved her to the inside, and then she immediately ran up on a horse, and he kind of just had to check like almost immediately and move to the outside. So it was an even rougher trip than the line shows. It's like just as the camera moves off of the top of the stretch, it like just cuts off, but you can see that he has to check up a little bit. I think she's interesting in here too if McCarthy can get her away well. She's taken, not too much money, but she was sub 10-1 in her first 2 starts. So I'll go 4-7 in here.
Mike, I'll end up going 4-9. Always Anna Hanover, and Kiki Lukiki is the other one that I'm going to use from the Burke Barn. And on the assumptions on drivers, again, we'll obviously see how this pans out tomorrow. I'm on the belief Ronnie Ryan Jr. ends up on Always Anna Hanover. If he should end up on one of the other two, may give me a little moment of pause, but I think he ends up on the 4.
Yeah, Kevin, Daily Double Deo has faced Poppy Grad not once but twice. First time out also, and was 10-1 in that race versus that one. I think that one's pretty obvious. Need to use that one and the 4, Always Anna Hanover. And like Jeff said, this horse won pretty nicely. Stallion Series kicked 27-1 first out, and then straight to the Sire Stakes. Didn't disgrace in that race. So now draws perfect. It's those two for me. I just think that they've shown something at a higher level than this. So I think one of them probably has to win this race.
Dawnelle?
Yeah, I agree. I went 4-7 too. I think Always Anna Hanover's probably going to be your winner, but I do like the 7. And I mean, Daily Double Deo did pace here in 53, 3 starts back. So I feel like she's definitely a player. So I used 4-7.
Cheyenne, are you joining everyone else here?
I just singled the 4 though. Always Anna Hanover just kind of seemed like the most logical choice for me. So I just felt like I just needed to single here.
All right, pretty similar consensus there in race 14. Race 15, we have reached the final leg of this pick 8. It is the 58th Delvin Miller Adios final, 3-year-old open pace. $350,000 on the line, and of course there were eliminations to get into this final, so we'll take a look at those. I'm not even sure what producer Ray has teed up first. We're going to hope he has the first elimination teed up, which would have been Wish You Well, upsetting at 28-1.
Wish You Well is 5th. Sweet Beach Life starts his bid from 6th, to be followed to the outside by R&B Band. Into the turn, they head for the 3/4. It's Clever Cody with a lead. Captain Luke 2nd, hunting for crumbs to the outside 3rd. Some cover now for Sweet Beach Life. 3/4, 122. Around the final turn, Clever Cody here in footsteps, hunting for crumb, quickly advances on the outside and puts the nose in front. Clever Cody's going to have to rise to the challenge now. Captain Luke is trapped in for now 3rd. Sweet Beach Life, the outside, they turn for home. Hunting for Chrome has taken command and drawn clear. Wish You Well, firing late from the far outside. Wish You Well at 25-1 goes right on by and 149-1.
First looking at these earlier today, we had some sound issues with those replays. We thought we were just going to have to make you call them again. We figured you did it once. You could probably do it again, but Ray seems to have gotten the sound figured out, so.
That was a great call.
No comment.
That was a great call.
Thank you.
Let's go to race 9. Captain Albano 1-5, very different than the 28-1 upset. Captain Albano went a tick slower though, 149-2, but did it on the front end.
Down the backstretch, 4th. Time Is On My Side is covered up by Nuclear, who's 5th. He's getting ready to move 3 wide. Rush In is 6th, and coming to the outside is Booming Economy. Farther back, still off stride, Number Cruncher. Heading toward the 3/4, Captain Albano in command so far. Courtship hanging him on the outside in 2nd. On the inside is Noblesville, 3 deep. There goes Nuclear. Racing next on the inside, Time Is On My Side. It's going to need some racing room. Booming Economy ready to go 3 wide. Off 3/4, 122-4. Captain Albano steps on the gas pedal, opens up 2 lengths on Noblesville. Time Is On My Side takes over 3rd. Nuclear alongside that one. Rush In needs room. They turn for home. It's all Captain Albano. He stepped clear. Noblesville is 2nd. Time Is On My Side on the inside. Through the stretch, it's all Captain Albano to get the win. Close for place, 149-2.
And that was the second elimination there last Saturday, and the Captain Albano went on and got it done. Likely to be our favorite here. And Jeff, as much as Scott Zeron and Linda Scott are great people, and I enjoy hanging out with them both, they are out. This year it is Todd McCarthy and Noel Daly. I will once again face heartbreak if Captain Albano loses. Single once again this year for me. I learned nothing last year to finish the pick 8.
You know, I hate picking chalk in big races. I really do. But in this race, there's 2 ways this race could go. If Captain Albano gets left alone on the front, forget it. That's what happened last week. You see the result of that. I'm also a big believer, even though it's not a two-heat race anymore, I'm still a big believer in whether your horse got really pushed last week or not. And Captain Albano did not get pushed at all. He got the easier half of the two races, and I just think he was so strong coming home. If they let him alone on the front, they're not going to catch him. However, what makes the race very interesting is Hunting for Chrome getting the outside. There's no way James McDonald can win this race if he sits ninth. So I think he's going to have to get out. If he gets out and gets into an early battle, I think Aaron Merriman is going to step out from post 5 with Clever Cody. So Captain Albano is going to be challenged. If they leave him alone, he wins. If they don't leave him alone, that's when Wish You Well comes into play, because you saw what he did, a 25 and change final quarter, just an absolute monster effort. Evan Paddock was the one that wrote the press release last week for the MSOA. So he interviewed David Miller, and I'm paraphrasing here, but David Miller was really surprised at the kick that horse showed once he got him some clear air. And, again, so I think the race sets up two different ways, whether there's a speed battle or not. Either way, you're looking at chalk. I think it's the 2 or the 4. I'd love to find a longer shot in there. Clever Cody could be it, but I really think the race is between the 2 winners from last week.
Dawnelle, it's always fun what a year can do in this sport. I recall last year on Elimination Saturday, Jeff Zidek and I were up in the booth together doing the show, and we interviewed Noel Daly from the back paddock, and he had just scratched Captain Albano out of a 2-year-old race. He'd been okay in a couple of starts. They're trying to figure out something with him, and here they are a year later, likely to be pretty significant favorites in the Adios final.
Yeah, I went with him. I singled him. I just think Todd was just sitting there, didn't have to push that horse, and that horse went right to the wire with a nice win, easy. I was sad to kind of see Hunting for Chrome draw the 9-hole, because I think that would be an interesting race, but I don't like the 9-hole. But then again, By the Missile did win from the 9-hole before, so it's not like it's never been done. But I'm singling the 4. I don't think he can be beat. Even if pushed, I think he's a good horse.
We have Maximus Madden tuning in there on YouTube feed saying Captain Albano going to be under fire. Clever Cody knows only one way. And Mike Pribozie, you were subtly taking your head there at the concept of Wish You Well and Captain Albano. So I assume that means you're giving us someone else?
Absolutely. And maybe, I don't know if Ray can cue this up from that first elimination with Sweet Beach Life last week. That's the first elimination. And he was taken to the outside and started a move. And then Hunting for Chrome just pulled out in front of him right at the very last second, almost borderline unsafely, and just totally stopped his momentum. And then he was even the rest of the race, ended up third. He still kicked 26 and 4. But if you watch that race, he just started to get himself going, and then was stopped cold and never got back going again, never could get that top speed. Whereas, Wish You Well, he never had a straw in his path in that race whatsoever. And he was able to come off the outside. And you don't often see a 25 and 2 fraction at the Meadows here to come home. You almost never see it. That just does not happen here. So yes, that was a phenomenal race. But I wonder if the race would have gone differently if Sweet Beach Life would have been able to continue his momentum and really just keep that top gear going, because I don't think he gets caught at that point. So he's 10-1 morning line. I know Clever Cody's going. The Ian Moore horses, he wants them driven aggressively. Captain Albano's definitely going to go because he's going to be driven like the best horse. Then you have Hunting for Chrome from the 9-hole. He was involved last week early. And he needs to be involved in the race here for anything to go his way. So if you looked back to the Messenger final, this horse came flying late to beat some nice horses. And that was at Yonkers, coming from off the pace from a very difficult spot. He's got a huge kick. Travis Alexander will have him ready for this final. If he does not have trouble in this race, he can upset these horses. He's 10-1 morning line. I'm not sure you'll get quite 10-1. I think he's going to be between 8 and 10, somewhere around there. But I like Sweet Beach Life in this Adios, and it can be upset, especially Captain Albano's a little hit and miss. I mean, everyone thought he should have won a North America Cup. Well, he didn't. Then the Meadowlands Pace didn't go quite the way he thought it would. He outclasses a lot of these horses, but 3 wins in 7 races this year. And this could be an off week. Give me Sweet Beach Life. Give me that price. And if I'm alive in the pick 8 to this horse, a lot of that money is going to be coming my way.
Mr. John Rallis is jumping in here and saying this is a race Captain Albano has to win. Unlucky season. This is where he gets on track. Great show. Thanks, John, as always, tuning in. And we got a show tomorrow night for some of John's work. That's the Hambo and Hambo Oaks eliminations. 20 and 23 horses entered there at the Meadowlands. So that's tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. We'll be live here. I believe Mike Pribozie is hosting that one. So tune into that show as always. But thanks, John, for tuning in tonight. Kevin, I don't even know where your mind is. You've been nodding your head up and down to 50 contradicting thoughts, so I don't know what you're about to give us.
Just like nodding up and down. It shows that I'm paying attention. In terms of the pick 8, I'm going to single Captain Albano. Even if there's that speed duel up front, I still think that if he's going to just sit 4th, if let's say the 5 blasts, if the 6 blasts, if the 9 blasts, and he's sitting 4th, he could either quarter pole move or he could be first over and he could just draw away. That was exactly the race that he needed last time. And it gave him a lot of confidence, I think. And I'm just going to single him. Sweet Beach Life, I went back and watched that Messenger final, and I really didn't like it. And I was super against him in the elimination. But he showed me more than I was expecting. And I went back and watched that replay when Mike texted me about Sweet Beach Life. And I went back and watched it. And I do think that he provides a nice alternative if you're just trying to go against the chalk. But I am not. I will go Captain Albano. I'll single him in the pick 8. In terms of like horses to use underneath him, if you're that confident about him, I really don't mind going back to Noblesville. But I could do a classic Edison Hatter here and say, you can find who I like underneath Captain Albano on Saturday's show. And I think
I just want to point this out, and everyone can weigh in on this, but you could see like the Captain Albano elimination. We're not mentioning any other horses in this race that were in that race. So yeah, I mean, he did dominate that race, but a lot of the horses that came out of that race, does anybody think they have a chance to win on Saturday?
Out of Albano's elimination?
I just think that race from Wish You Well was such an anomaly. I'll go ahead and beat Captain Crusader, and then all of a sudden you kick sub 26. Like, I have no idea where that came from. Can he repeat that big kick and kick like 26-3? Sure. But if Albano kicks 26-1 and Wish You Well is 6th, then that's not going to happen.
It's just a different race this time. There's different horses in here. The pace is going to be completely different, and they're not going to give it to him. So,
Kevin, Mike did say this to me last year, and then I had to go, and I was cheap and just stuck with my single in the last. So I might have to dig deeper in the pockets this year, maybe for the pick 8 by the time we're all said and done. Toss 8 of these horses on, but Cheyenne finishes off here for the Adios. Who are you going with?
I totally agree with Jeff Zidek. I mean, there's a lot of different ways this race could play out. I honestly see Captain Albano just basically taking it all. But some horses I had to consider. I had to consider Wish You Well. That last quarter last week, I hear it saying 25-2. That was just so impressive to me. Kind of just came out of nowhere, top of the stretch. You could see that early battle, that early duel. Clever Cody. I had Clever Cody on here as well. Clever Cody's going to leave. This horse is going to blast. I mean, out of the 18 starts, 9 of them he's won by being on the front end, so he's probably guaranteed going to leave. So for me, I went with Wish You Well, Captain Albano, and Clever Cody, just because when it comes to a race like this and how fast that they're going to go, you're just not sure of what exactly is going to happen. This could be a one-horse race. Captain could win it for fun. But also, too, you have to consider the fact that they might be dueling out and they might be going hot fractions. They get tired, and that's when somebody like Wish You Well just sweeps up and takes it.
Mike Pribozie, you really can't compare Kevin to Ray too much. Ray would have us at least an hour 20 by now. We're only at 58 minutes, so
This has been awesome, actually, for having 6 of us here. It's been perfect. We're gonna do more shows like this.
Yeah, Silent Ray's nice. Ray still hasn't jumped in. He's still resisting the urge to throw himself in here. I mean,
tempting him. Why would you continue to tempt him like that? Such a bad idea.
Well, we kind of technically have time for it, even really, if he wanted to do it. But
whatever. No.
Oh no.
I like Ray, but don't tempt him too much.
The silence is almost scarier right now. Pick 8 tickets. So we have a 20-cent base wager, $15,000 guarantee, 20-cent minimum. Mandatory payout. I said all that again. So hopefully that makes Ray happy out there in the universe. Jeff, you said you may or may not have a ticket for it. Did you actually get one together, or what are we going with?
No, I didn't. So,
okay, well, you gave us
enough. How many singles, Jeff? Just give us some singles in that pick 8. Just do it that way.
Now I got to go back through again. This is just more chance for Ray to sneak his comments in here. But
we'll come back to you, Jeff. Let's do your homework, Kevin.
Go ahead. I'm just sitting here enjoying my big chair.
All right. Starts in race 8. I am 3-4-6 in race 8. Race 9, 1-6-8. Race 10, 2-8. That's geocentric and a Sweet Beach here. Race 11, That 2-3, race 12, 3-5, race 13, singling the 8 Aston Hill Dave, race 14, 2 deep with the 4 and the 7, and race 15, the Adios Pace, I will single Captain Albano. That ticket, I believe, is $28.80 for 20 cents.
You know, admittedly, normally I'm fast checking the math on my guest tickets and stuff. 8 legs, 5 other people. I'm not doing it, so we're just going to trust you on that. Cheyenne?
So for race 8, I went 3 deep. This is 3, 6, 7. Race 9 also went 3 deep. 3, 5, 6. Race 10 went 2 deep. Number 2 and 7. Race 11, 2, 7. Race 12, I singled. Just went with the 3. Race 13 went with 2, 6. Race 14 went just singled there, went with the 4. And then race 15, I went 3 deep with the 2, the 4, and the 5. With a 20 cents base wager, it goes to $43.20.
Okay, a little bit more expensive than Kevin. Dawnelle?
I was really budgeting compared to you guys right now. So race 8, I went 3, 6. Race 9, I went 3, 5, 6, 8. Race 10, 7, 2. Race 11, 3, 7. Race 12, I singled the 3. Race 13, I singled the 8. Race 14, 4, 7. And then race 15, I singled the 4. For 20 cents, I think it's $12.80. So I tried to be budget friendly this time.
All right, Mike, I guess I better throw mine in there. I will go 2, 3, 6 with 3, 5, 8. I'm spending a lot here. With 5, 7, with 3, 7, with 1, 3, with 5, 8, with 4, 9, with 4. And that is $57.60. Or you can do what I did last year, just play it for a $5 base and call it $1,430 and call it a day.
Sounds like a lot more.
Pick 8 play, 20-cent minimum, but he plays $5. Yeah, I won't be doing that. 2, 3, 6 to start, 5, 8, 3, 7, leg 3, 2, 3. And then a couple versions here. You could single the 3 in leg 5. You could use the 1 and the 8 there. That would triple the ticket. So up to you. 6, 8, 4, 7, 4, 7 to finish. So it's $38.40 with the 3 singled. If you like those other 2 horses, it's $115. So not quite Edison level, but I'm getting closer.
John Rallis says, wish you well is a well-known closer too, which is very true. I saw some of those races, the Meadowlands there. Showed lots of late speed, didn't come back the same in 3. And John says race saving his voice for tomorrow. That's true. If you want to see more Ray Catolo, you can come tomorrow at 8 p.m. Thursday. Mike, why don't you promo that real quick because you're on there with him. Oh, look at that. Yeah, Ray Catolo, Mike Pribozie, John Rallis, Derek Givner, and Thomas Fenson for the Hamiltonian and Hamiltonian Oaks eliminations, the Saturday card. We've got shows this week and next week for the Meadowlands. Look at that. Ray's ready with everything. He just won't come in and talk to us. But, Jeff,
what's up?
Oh, there we
Hey, I'll be on that. You guys did great today. I got to go.
Jeff, your pick 8 thoughts.
All right, somebody else write this down. Plowcha.
Yeah.
Write this down. Here we go. 2, 3, 6 in the 8th. With the 3, 5. With the 2, 7 in the 10th race, Geocentric and my girl EJ. 11th race, it's the 3 and either the 2 or 4. Again, we're doing this Wednesday night, so it's going to be whichever one Ronnie Wren takes, either Lions Copper Top or Take Me to the Limit. 12th race, I've got to go singling Splendid. The 13th race, I've got a single Aston Hill Dave. 14th race, this is where I've got to go a little bit deeper. I've got to go 1, 3, 4, and a 7. Anna Hanover, I think, is the one to beat, but I've got 4 deep in that 14th race. 15th, I'm just going with Wish You Well and Captain Albano. What's that equal?
38.40. Oh, sorry, I was giving that to Kevin. Did Kevin get that right?
There we go.
38.40.
All right.
Good.
So there's
$192 for $1.
Or
how much for $5?
Like, you know,
nearly 1,000.
910. Well, that's a good look at the pick 8 as part of the 16 race card. That's only half of the races on Saturday out at the Meadows. So there's a huge card. 11:45 first post time. Kevin, as we wrap up, I'm sure as part of your sign off here, you can give me all 11 of those guaranteed pools.
Oh, I have to. Can I? Okay, I'll pull them up again. Do you really want me to go through them?
I want them by heart, but okay, $200,000 in guaranteed money here.
Richest day in PA, $200,000 in combined guaranteed pools. Wish we could just put the graphic up. That would be better than hearing my voice for 2 minutes. But
Ryan Zidek did not consent to you using his graphic. I don't think so. You have to read them now, Kevin. So.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. Adios pick 8, $15,000 pool, 20-cent minimum, 15% takeout. Adios pick 5, race 11, 12,500 guaranteed. Adios pick 4, race 13, 15,000 guaranteed pool. In the Adios final, race 15, $50,000 guaranteed in the trifecta, 25,000 in the superfecta, and then some other guaranteed pools throughout the card. $10,000 guaranteed in the pick 5 pool in race 3. 12,500 guaranteed in the pick 4 pools, races 5 and 9. And then a $15,000 trifecta pool in races 6 and 10, and 17,500 in race 14. That adds up to $200,000 for the richest day in PA on this Saturday's Adios Day at the Meadows.
And producer Ray is in my ear telling me that, admittedly, I forgot something I was supposed to sneakily sneak in. So now I'm just going to have to do it blatantly and just break a fourth wall. So we need a good little promo from all of us for the previewing of this video over the longer version. So therefore, I need a 15-second adios pick from everybody with their reason when I start from this point on that I'm sure Ray will screen record so he's happy with it. This Saturday at the Meadows, 16 races, 11:45 post time, and it is Adios Day. Delvin Miller Adios final comes up in race 15. That's the big race of $350,000. And here's 5 experts with who they think will win this year's Adios. Track announcer at the Meadows, Jeff Zidek.
Captain Albano is the one to beat. Wish You Well is the closing speed. There's a ton of early speed in this race. If Captain Albano gets roughed up early, watch out for Wish You Well. I personally think Captain Albano is going to get the trip he wants, and I think he's going to be the one to beat.
Got a lot of local Meadows experts out there joining us in this panel, including Mike Pribozie, who will be on the show on Saturday.
Go with a long shot in this year's Adios. Number 7, Sweet Beach Life. Flew late to win the Messenger. Trouble in his limb. Got stopped cold. He'll be flying late. 10-1 morning line this year's Adios.
We've got Dawnelle Mock here as well.
Yeah, I'm going with number 4, Captain Albano. I don't think he can be beat in this race. He was impressive. Todd was just sitting there waiting to go, and I see it going his way this week at the Adios.
Cheyenne Christman.
Captain Albano is going to definitely take it for sure, but if there's somebody you want to consider, it's going to be Wish You Well with that late kick. But for me, it's Captain Albano.
And last but, well, maybe not least, Kevin Plowcha.
Captain Albano got the confidence booster that he needed last week after some rough trips in the Meadowlands Pace and NA Cup. He's the one to catch. Even if that speed duel develops in front of him, he could be still pouncing first over. And I think Todd will make sure that he doesn't get trapped in just like the NA Cup. Captain Albano as your likely heavy favorite.
Captain Albano, the single for me in this year's Pick 8, much like I singled in last year's Pick 8. And if you tune into the entirety of the Roundtable, you can find out more about my misadventures with last year's Pick 8. All right, I should therefore make producer Ray happy. All right, final sign-offs. Jeff Zidek, thank you as always. We really appreciate your time. Obviously, you've already called 13 races here today, and you've got plenty more the rest of the week. And we hope you have a fantastic Adios Saturday. And at least we hear you'll be sharing the booth a little bit with the Meadows legend on Saturday to maybe give you a little bit of a break.
Yes, Kevin Plowcha will be there as a co-host that day. Okay. Yeah, Roger Houston will be stopping by and calling a couple of races on the card. And, of course, Kevin and Mike from this panel will be on the show, as will Dawnelle. She'll be joined outside by Gabe Pruitt. And so we've got a big day coming up Saturday.
Yeah, Dawnelle Mock will be joined outside by Gabe Pruitt. And clearly, Dawnelle, they like you more than us now because Mike and I got outside with all the fans last year. Now they want to hide us in some studio, apparently.
No, Gabe and I used to like the paddock with the air conditioning. So when they told me I was going outside, I was like, oh, no. But now that there's fans, I might be more happy about it. But, yeah, we'll also have everyone's Pick 8 tickets and their picks on the PHRA social media. So if anyone didn't want to listen in and listen to the whole thing, we'll have all those graphics up on Saturday, too, so they can tune into everyone's picks.
Yeah, I blame Kevin Plowcha for giving us this indoor spot this year. But at least it is air conditioned. That's a good point.
Yeah, see.
Kevin, you have any final thoughts for us?
Yeah, we love air conditioning. This has been a blast. Make sure you tune in Saturday. Tons of guaranteed pools available for the bettors. We're going to have tons of analysis. Try to give you all the winners that we can. Analysis everywhere. Twitter, as Dawnelle said, on the broadcast, NahooPicks.com. We'll be everywhere. We'll have a lot of stuff. Come say hi. And we do love air conditioning.
Cheyenne, I think most of your days are going to be spent outside Saturday, so sorry, I'm not sure you're going to find much air conditioning either.
But that'll be okay because I like the sunlight and I always dress comfortably for these kind of events. Fashionable, but comfortable. So be sure to check out US Trotting on all of our social media to cover this great day, as well as go check out all the coverage we're going to have during Hambo week because the LMs are also on Saturday as well. So be sure to keep an eye on all things US Trotting.
And Mike Pribozie, we've got, I don't know, can we give a quick little between you and I preview the next coming week here? We've got a busy week. We've got, obviously, this Adios show. We've got the Hambo Limbs this week, Hambo Final next week. We've got Sweden to talk about next Tuesday, including both of the first two invitees of the Yonkers Trot will be in that race on Tuesday over in Sweden. And we've got Wood by Mohawk coverage is always continuing. In fact, as soon as we wrap up here, I've got a date with Garnett Barnsdale to go record a little Mohawk for this Saturday.
Tons of content on In the Money Media, especially on the standardbred side. Plenty of thoroughbred content. Also, go to NahooPicks.com for all the picks. I'm doing picks for Daily Racing Forum for this Adios card, so check those out on Saturday. Again, we'll be at the track, and come say hi to us. But listen to the comments in between races. A lot of times we could find you a price, see how that board is shaping up. So if you pay attention, we're going to give you some winners Saturday.
Yep, and would definitely thank all our panelists here tonight. It's been a great panel, and in fact, it's a unique one that all six of us will actually be on site at the Meadows Saturday. So yeah, if you see any of us, feel free to come by, say hi, come chat about the races. That's why Ray couldn't be on this panel because he doesn't like to drive, so he wouldn't go out to the Meadows Saturday. But for Mike Pribozie, Dawnelle Mock, Kevin Plowcha, Jeff Zidek, Cheyenne Christman, Edison Hatter here. Getting ready to sign off from this show. Wish you the best of luck this weekend on your wagering endeavors, be it at the Meadows, on the Hambo Limbs, the Olympics starting, other sports, whatever you're betting on, Kevin's golf bets, whatever you're betting. Hopefully your bets are winning ones. We'll talk to you next time on the In the Money Media here from the Harness Players Podcast. We'll be back tomorrow evening, 8 p.m. with a special roundtable for the Hamiltonian eliminations.
Cashed Up will win race 16.